So in this short video, I'm going to walk you through some of my most favorite stretches for golfers. It's a complete head-to-toe stretching program that you can do. And it's going to address the shoulder, the back, and the hip, really the three most common areas. Disclaimer, if you're having trouble doing any of these, you're having pain with it, it may not be the right time and you may need further help. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, for this first stretch, it's a half kneeling wall push-off. Great for the lower and lateral side of your back. So I know we can have different strains and tightnesses that we need to stretch around the entire back, but this stretch is going to be great for the outer and lateral side as well as the hip. Just make sure you push off through the top hand into the wall, drive the hips away. You can see that I'm really getting a great stretch through the entire lateral chain there on my right lat, lower back, and even into the side of the hip. Now the next one is kind of really a modified child's pose, so it's important to cross the leg and the low back that you want to stretch. Cross that leg. So in this case, it's my left leg. I'm sinking my hip out and back to the side. So don't go straight back like you would normally with a typical child's pose. Try to really bring it out into the side. I'm kind of anchoring my left hand down there. You can even put your opposite right hand on top of it and really sink back into that to feel a great lower back and glute stretch. Now the third one is just simply a double knees to chest. So this seems to hit more of the central location and the low back. So if you're having tightness there, this can be a really great stretch for you. So bring both knees to the chest, and what's really important about this is that you kind of curl your lower butt and your lower back off of the carpet. Some of you won't be flexible enough to get there, which is okay. You can work towards it. Now moving into our shoulder stretches, and really shoulder and mid-back, you're going to take, I like to use a 7-iron, and go ahead and wrap it around your hand like shown. And that's going to help improve your shoulder external rotation, which is exactly what you need during the backswing of your golf swing. So keep it as similar to your golfing stance posture as possible. Really get a great rotation and really increase that. Okay, just another angle shown here. We're going to do it again. Wrap it around my arm. Get into a golf position. Now this is even a little bit lower. I'm just trying to get a little more of a stretch out of it. Again, just trying to rotate as much as you can, keeping that arm and hand into external rotation. With all of these, you should only be feeling stretches, okay? I want you to stop if you're feeling pain. You'll need to consult someone else. All right, moving into the next one is a follow-through stretch. So sometimes the arm can have impingement because of the follow-through. So what we're gonna do is grab just above the elbow and pull all the way through. I tend to feel this in the back of the shoulder, and that's where I want you to feel it as well. A really great stretch for the rotator cuff, which can often get impinged when you're doing this. And after you do a few reps of those, I'd also encourage you to go ahead and try with a bent elbow. I tend to find as I do this, I kind of get more into the mid-back and even in the shoulder blade. That seems to be a really good spot for you when you're doing this. And that will also help offload the shoulder that you might be having pain in. So go ahead and try it both arm straight and the elbow bent. Now moving into the hips, these are a couple of my favorite. Now I'm using a medical table, but you could even just use like your couch at home. It actually works out pretty good. You're gonna wanna prop your upper to mid back on that. And then you can see I'm letting gravity actually do the work for me. So gravity is pushing straight down through that hip. I am doing a little rocking. I'll show you more about that in a second. But just try to sink lower after you kind of loosen up that hip. So you can see my hips were almost able to touch the ground there because of the improved mobility. Here's just a closer look at the rocking that I'm doing. So once you've kind of got into that established position, my arms are out wide just for balance. You've sunken down, you feel a good deep stretch there. In this case for me, the outer right glute. Go ahead and just kind of rock it from side to side. My hips are still hovering at that point, so I'm still using traction and gravity to help me get the good stretch that I need through that lower right glute area. And just kind of continue to progress that as far as you can go. It really feels great though. And then also lastly, the seated hip internal rotation. So you're gonna need to have great internal rotation as a golfer. So just make sure your back's supported. I like to use something in the middle part of your back. You could even just use a wall if you had to. The table just happened to work out for today's demonstration. But go ahead and actively kind of bring your knee in and down towards the ground. I like to use my hands for a little extra support. In my experience, you really don't need a whole lot of extra support to get a great stretch here, because you're just taking advantage of leverage at that point. Now, I find if you start wider with your legs, you tend to find that tightens up quicker. So If you're really tight, you might want to start with your feet a little bit more narrow together. For those of you that are really, really stiff, you could even take, like, I have a dumbbell sitting over there. I could take a dumbbell and just put it on top of my knee, and you could add a little weight extra to give yourself a really good stretch with that. So that's really everything you need to do as a golfer to stretch out all the important, perfect spots, head to toe, to make sure that you can continue to get out there, swing the way you want to, and enjoy the game at its finest. Thank you.